This is episode 23 of the Brand Authority Podcast. Today, we're talking about how you can build a social media editorial calendar. Stick around.
This is the Brand Authority Podcast, the show for growth-driven leaders who want to win more customers, increase revenue, and gain the competitive edge. Broadcasting from sunny Los Angeles, here's your host, Rebekah Radice.
Well, hello and welcome back. I am thrilled today to break down a topic that is probably one of the top topics I get asked about, which is how do I manage it all? How do I take all of this great content I've created within my business, around my business, over these many years, and how do I maybe take some of those ideas and pull them out of my head? And how do I wrangle all of that into one easy to manage system? So we're going to start today with step one in a three-part series of how to create your editorial calendar. And a big piece of that is your social media editorial calendar. I'm going to break down a full marketing calendar and everything that's going to go into that. But as I said, we're going to start with just one piece today, talking about all of the content that goes out across your social channels. Now, if you're like so many other people and you find that you're constantly scrambling to pull content together for your editorial calendar, here's the good news. There is a better way. So many years ago, as I was working through social media and content marketing and blogging and just everything that goes into the content we create for our business, I thought, there has to be a better way to build a mousetrap. There has to be an answer to how I can consolidate, how I can get everything into one location, and more than that, how I can do a huge brain dump, really brainstorm all of the content that I already have, because goodness knows I don't have the time to reinvent the wheel or recreate. So I created my own process, and that became my own editorial calendar. And if you haven't grabbed that, I'll give you the link at the end. But what I want to walk you through here today is how you can get started in the consolidation of your ideas, your content, in how to really research what your audience is looking for. And then this is going to be a three-part series into how to create your content, your marketing, your social media, your digital marketing, editorial calendars, so that you're not spread out all over the place, so that you don't feel that you're constantly in one app or the other and looking for, what was it that I just created? Or I think I wrote about that weeks ago or a year ago, but it's just hard because none of it is at your fingertips. So I am going to help you solve that problem, and for maybe the first time, get all your content into one location and then make it very easy for you to keep up with, for you to manage, for you to generate engagement off of this content and really start to build your traffic, your leads, and your sales off of all of that content that you're creating. Kind of crazy, right? Because no, we are not just playing around on social media as entrepreneurs. There has to be a method to our madness. And so today I'm going to help you pull all of that madness together. And we're going to start, as I said, with the first piece, which is your social media editorial calendar. Now, first and foremost, if you haven't created your social media goals, let's break that down, because this really is that first place you need to begin, because your social media goals are going to roll up into your overall marketing and business goals. They're all in alignment, all supporting that singular cause. So not only do your goals give you direction, they give you that strategy, that strategic roadmap, they also give flight to your ideas. ideas. So let's get to it. Let's talk about how you can set your social media goals and your objectives. Now, first and foremost, I want you to visualize them. What is it that you actually want to achieve? And again, I want you to take a look at what have you set in place? What have you said that you're going to achieve within your business in 2018? Now you are going to create those 3 social media goals that are in direct alignment, direct support with those business goals. Because our goals, they do not live in silos. They don't live over in different corners of our business. And that's where so many entrepreneurs just don't get the incredible value in social media. When you actually align everything, when everything is working towards that same end goal, all of a sudden it starts to feel a lot less heavy, a lot less stressful, a lot less overwhelming, because we're not creating a whole bunch of content just for the sake of content. Instead, we're creating very specific content that has to do with a campaign or with a launch, which all has to do with sales in our business or traffic to our website or downloads, whatever it is you're trying to achieve, you're trying to move your audience towards. Think of social media as just one of those pillars within your business that helps you accomplish that. So your first step is to drill down into those specific goals. And let me just give you a few examples of what that might look like. So let's say in your business, you want to increase sales. So for social media, how it can support that business goal might be that you create 5 specific pieces of content for Facebook and Twitter each week that directly lead people over to one of your offers or your lead magnet. So you've got a landing page, you've created that irresistible offer, and now you're going to use social media to move people over there. Another one could be that you're designing a Pinterest image for each of your new offers, and you're pinning that and you're using Pinterest to drive traffic over to that lead magnet. Another example of your business goals might be that you want to improve your customer experience. So think about how you can use social media to achieve that. Well, first of all, you could look to shorten your normal response time by being active and engaged with your community on social media. So this might look like you using a social media monitoring tool like Brand24 to stay involved, to monitor keywords, to pay attention to the conversations that are being had. So you're agile, you're responsive, you're interactive with your audience. Another one of your business goals might be that you want to heighten brand visibility. So social media could help you in a few different ways here. First of all, you could use live streaming. So maybe you're on Facebook, maybe you're on YouTube, maybe you're over on Instagram, and you're connecting with a market that was previously untapped to you, that you hadn't been able to break into, but you know your audience, you've done your research, you understand they love video, and so you're going to add in that layer of social video to reach that whole new audience. Or you could create a new interview series and you could break this down by frequently asked questions. So a process I take my clients through is writing down what are those most frequently asked questions that your audience, your customers, your buyers ask you over and over and over again. And then you're going to take those and you're going to optimize those based off of your keywords, based off of the intent of your audience. And that is exactly what they would ask when they're searching for you. So put yourself in their shoes. Think about when they go to Google, what would they type in to get the answer to that question? Or what would they ask Siri when they're looking for an answer to that question? And that's how you want to position your answers to those frequently asked questions. And you could put these into little snippets on YouTube. You could use Twitter videos, so many different ways you could create these answers to those frequently asked questions and not only tap into SEO, but also the intent and the true intent of your audience. So those are just a few ideas ideas for you as you start to look at what are my business goals and how do I create social media goals that really support all that I'm looking to achieve. All right, so now that you know what you want to achieve, it's time for you to do some content brainstorming because, like I said, I am here to save you time. I am here to help you simplify the strategy you currently have in place. And a big part of that is to brainstorm on the type of content that A, your audience wants, but also B, that you've already created and you might be able to repurpose across social media. So the most important element as you begin to outline your calendar is determining what topics matter most to your customers. So this is going to require some research as you take a deep dive into the wants and needs of your potential clients, buyers, users, whoever those people are that you're looking to connect with. So you're going to use a tool like Google Analytics. This becomes your best friend. What you're looking for is your top performing content. So what content has already resonated with your audience where you can look at it and maybe it's evergreen in nature. So it wasn't just popular 2 years ago, but it's still a really popular topic with your audience. And again, it goes back to in direct alignment with your goals. So let me give you a couple of ways that you can dig in using Google Analytics and a couple other tools to get a feel for what that content is that your audience is looking for. All right, so number one, you're going to head over to Google Analytics and you're going to look at what blog posts received the most views and then review your top 50. And you're going to sort based off of those keywords, those frequently asked questions, that actual intent of your audience, that solution that you're bringing to your audience that they have told you over and over and over again they want you to talk about. So you're going to start to write down what those top pieces of content are that you've already created that continue to bring traffic to your website and that are truly inspiring your audience to click through, to keep coming back, to share with your audience. And now I want you to look at that content and ask yourself a few questions. Could you take one of those blog posts and turn it into maybe an additional 5 tweets per week that you could add to your editorial calendar? Or maybe you could have your graphic designer create images with quotes, maybe 1 or 2 quotes that you pull out of that content. Or maybe you could expand upon that idea. You know they already like it. Is there a second step or a third step, a little further in the process that you could take them? All of this can go into your editorial calendar, and you see how powerful this is when you start to repurpose your content into not only different pieces of content, but different types of media so that it doesn't feel stale and stagnant. It doesn't feel like the same old thing that you've shared over and over again, but it feels brand new to a whole new audience. And the second benefit, it's going to continue to drive traffic if you link back to that original piece of content. So let's say you created a few additional tweets off of that top performing content. You put those into a schedule. You got those planned out. You have those tweeting out now, and you added the link. So it's driving traffic back over to that original piece of content. So you can see how all of this is helping you with your overall goals, where whether you're looking to increase that brand awareness, whether you're looking to increase sales, repurposing your content can help you achieve that and so much more. Now, another way that you can get to the bottom of what type of content your audience is looking for and do a little bit of a brainstorm through research is to look at your competition, because you have to assume that if your competition is writing about something, they're sharing something that has performed extremely well, that you could create something very similar that your similar audience is going to connect with. So hop on over to one of my favorite tools, which is buzzsumo.com, and it's going to give you a really quick snapshot around any topic, any keyword, and any website. So to do this, just go to the Content Research tab, and then you can type in any URL. So think of the domain of 2 or 3 of your competitors and drop those in there, and then you can look to the social engagement. Look at all of the topics that they have recently written about and determine, is that something that you could write about? Do you have experience? Is that an area where you're knowledgeable? If the answer is yes, then this is a proven way to guarantee your performance. Now, your next step in putting together your social media editorial calendar, I kind of alluded to, but now that you've thought about what those content topics are, you need to determine your content types, because it's probably not a big surprise, but you can't randomly share content and hope it produces results. You need to share the type of content that converts, and it's going to be a little bit different for every audience. It's going to be a little bit different dependent on your industry, your niche, depending on exactly what that audience is that you're looking to connect with. So some of the content formats that convert, everything from blog posts to webinars, ebooks, case studies, special reports, white papers, maybe a workbook or a download, podcast interviews, checklists, video guides, tutorials, the list goes on and on. There's so many different ways you can position your content. Now, within this, you have a couple of steps here. So your next step is to implement one of these. And I'm going to stress that for those overachievers that are listening. I see you. I know who you are. Totally relate. You want to take it along. You want to do it all right now. But I'm going to strongly urge you to not do that. There's a couple of reasons. First of all, combining too many ideas at once is going to cause some things to happen. So you're going to struggle to keep up with the amount of work it takes to execute upon each of those ideas. And then you're going to have a very difficult time tracking which idea has the biggest impact. So take a step back, breathe a little, tell yourself that you can't do it all at once, and choose one or two and get started with that. Test it out, and you're going to have to test these on each social network as well. Because as you can imagine, just like you can't share any kind of content, every social network, they consume that content a little bit different than the next. So your Twitter audience going to be different than your Instagram different than your Facebook different than YouTube. You get my drift. So you really have to be very cognizant of your audience on each social channel and what it is they're looking for from you. Now that you know your audience, you know what they're looking for, you've done a deep dive into what type of content they're already connecting with, you've looked through your analytics, so you've got that data. Now it's time to start building out your social media editorial calendar. And this is where the fun really begins. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, I have a link for a free social media editorial calendar, and that's going to be in the show notes. Very easy for you to pop over there. Go ahead and download that and start building out your own social media calendar. But I'm going to give you just a few tips. No matter if you're using an Excel spreadsheet, if you're using an app like Evernote, if you're just using a Google Calendar, there's a few simple ways you can start to pull all of this content together and build out your roadmap for how you're actually going to post this to social media on a daily basis. Because what you're doing here is you are pairing the research that you just performed with an actionable plan. And that's where so many people fall down, is they have these big ideas and they have all of this content they want to share, but they don't put it into a plan that they can actually follow, that they can actually get out of quickly on a daily and weekly basis. Okay, so here we go. Step one within this content creation or your content editorial calendar creation is you're going to focus on your theme for each week. Now, your theme is based on your topics, and those are associated with the keywords or terms we talked about before, those ones that you want to be known for, those frequently asked questions that you're answering. So, for example, if you sell jewelry, your topics might be sterling silver jewelry, maybe birthstone jewelry, and you're going to take those topics and then you're going to break them down into a daily focus. And here's how to do this. So it doesn't have to feel like the weight of the world is on you. I'm going to make this really, really simple. So you're going to treat each theme as a content bucket. So let's say your content bucket number 1 is sterling silver jewelry. Now you're going to write down 5 different questions you can answer around that topic. So this goes back to what we talked about with the frequently asked questions, and you're going to add one of those questions to each week in your calendar. So let's say you are looking at February. You can add those questions to a different day of the week for your content calendar. So maybe you choose Tuesdays as the day you answer frequently asked questions. So here's an example of what that might look like. Your question could be, what type of sterling silver jewelry should I buy for my wedding? So this is a question you're answering on behalf of what you know your target market is interested in. So you're going to take that question and then you're going to turn that into a topic for your calendar. And remember how we talked about all the different types of content you could create? So just think about what you could do with this particular question. So what type of sterling silver jewelry should I buy for my wedding? You could create a video for YouTube. You could go live on Facebook. You could create a graphic on Instagram. And all of that could answer that question. So your title might become How to Choose the Best Sterling Silver Jewelry for Your Wedding. So as you can see, hyper specific, you're targeting people that are engaged, they're looking to get married, and they're looking for the best sterling silver jewelry. Now, once you've started to figure out those content buckets and those frequently asked questions, and then how those are going to map to the type of content that you use across each social channel, now it's time to determine which destinations are you going to manage, because you don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to be everything to everybody. You just need to be exactly where your audience is. So figure out, are they spending time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube? And all of that content, it works. It works on every single one. That's the beauty. Maybe the size, the dimensions are a little bit different of your video or your graphic, but you can test out a variety of content across multiple different social channels. But as I said, you just need to really think about, where is your audience hanging out? Where are they spending time? And where is it best for you to double down your efforts in 2018? Now, next up within that editorial calendar, now that you've thought about your content, where it's going to go, so which social network it's actually going to end up on, you need to think about what your call to action is for that particular piece of content. Are you looking to build awareness, maybe nurture your social media relationships, or are you looking to activate and inspire them to take action? So you need to know know what that next step is that you're asking your audience to take. As we know, confused minds don't buy. Likewise, they don't click, they don't read, they don't consume your content. So be very, very clear in, do you want them to click a link? Do you want them to opt in? Do you want them to download? Do you want them to sign up? Do you want them to join a webinar? The options are limitless, but each post needs a very clear call to action or you're missing a huge opportunity. All right, so this next step goes hand in hand with that call to action. I want you to think about what call to action content you're going to include. So let's use Instagram as an example. And let's say you've created a new graphic for your latest blog post. Well, you may tell your audience to click the link in your bio to read that blog post. So you need to think about what is it that you're going to share within that post. So when you ask them to take action, are you asking them to click on a link? Are you asking them to download an image or download a guide or to go view a video? You just need to understand what exactly that CTA is, but also the content around that and how your audience is going to interact with that. All right, so let's pull this all together. And last but not least is your posting strategy. So once you've completed the planning and the visualization aspects of your social media content strategy, now it's time to create your posting strategy. And this really becomes a checklist of your daily, your weekly, and your monthly tasks. So you're going to decide which social media channels you're going to share your posts across. So like I talked about, you don't have to be everywhere. Just think about it. You're going to be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube. Where are you going to be? And which type of content are you going to share across each one of those social channels? And then what does that call to action look like? And now, how often are we going to post to each of those social channels? So first, I want you to go take a look at your analytics. So look to your Facebook insights, your Twitter analytics, your Instagram analytics. All of these are going to give you insights into when is your audience online, when are they interacting with your content now, and you can start to strategize. So strategize on posting 2 to 3 times per day at those maximums. So your best times based off of what your analytics are telling you. Now, within this daily social media checklist, you need the right tools. You need the tools that are going to help you partially automate some of this, because of course you cannot ever automate everything. You can't take the human out of social media, which is you. You're going to have to remain somewhat involved. I know. Some of you are shaking your head saying, nope, don't want to do it. But it can be very, very easy once you get it into your calendar. So let me give you an example. You could put 15 minutes in your calendar in the morning and 15 minutes at night to use the right tools to come in and monitor your mentions. So you could come in to a tool like Communit or Brand24 and see who's been talking about you, who's been sharing your content, who's responded back to you, maybe those keywords that you're monitoring that you want to answer those frequently asked questions, and do that kind of as bookends in your day. So beginning of the day, end of the day, you can come in, interact with people, and keep it very effortless without you feeling like you're running all over the place trying to keep up. You also want to use a social media management tool. So something like Sprout Social, Post Planner, Buffer. There's so many different tools out there where you can add your content in. So if you've said, I want to post 2 to 3 times per day on Twitter or over on Facebook, or I want to post 1 new video per week over on YouTube, this all either goes into your tool or it goes into your calendar as a reminder so that your brain doesn't have to hang on to that. You don't have to remind yourself. These tools are going to help you do that on a daily, a weekly, and a monthly basis. And then the last tool I would highly recommend is a tool like True Social Metrics, which is going to really help you better understand when and how your audience is spending their time online. So if you want to go a lot deeper into your audience's behavior, this is a terrific way to do that, because analyzing the data lets you see when your potential customers, when your audience is interacting with you online. So rather than throwing posts out, hoping for an outcome, you predict it with data. And once you know those best times to post, because you're committed to doing it on a daily strategy, you're going to start to see that other themes are going to emerge, like how often they're interacting, or what is your top performing content on one particular social network. So you're just going to get more data as time goes on. So there you go, a very simple way for you to start to build out your social media editorial calendar and really turn your audience into contacts, leads, and sales, instead of leaving money on the table, leaving opportunities out there on the table, because you're not really thinking through how your social media content interacts, participates, and supports everything else that you're doing within your business. So it's time for you to get strategic. 2018, you can't just throw stuff at the wall and hope it sticks. You've got to pay attention to what your audience is out there already telling you. You don't have to beat your head against the wall trying to figure it out. Now, don't forget, if you do not want to try to combat a social media editorial calendar on your own, grab that link in the show notes, click on over and download the free one that I have put together for you. There is a complimentary blog post as well that will show you exactly how to step-by-step add your own content right into it. So we'll share both of those links in the show notes. And then next podcast, we're going to take this one step further and talk more about your overall marketing editorial calendar. So your social media calendar feeds into your marketing editorial calendar, and all of that helps you grow your business. So don't miss the next episode of the Brand Authority podcast as we get into the second part of this 3-part series of creating your marketing editorial calendar for your business. I look forward to seeing you back here next time.